Did you know that from 1900 to 1913, the federal government had a very manageable debt into the millions of dollars? But in 1913, something happened. Four things were set up in the year 1913. First, the Federal Reserve Bank, the IRS, the FBI, and the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith all were set up in the same year. Is that a coincidence, or is there a tie-in?
Do you notice that they have the same amount of ink on them? Do you notice that they're made out of the same virtually worthless stuff? It's paper. Did you get it? It's paper. When we create money, we have created an instrument of value that has no value of its own. And it's just as expensive or inexpensive to print the 20 as it is to print the 1. I'm here to prove to you that bankers, especially in the Federal Reserve System, make multiplied trillions of dollars and never create one thing of value. Are you with me?
But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. The
problem is we have a privately owned central bank system in the United States disguised as a government-owned system. Now, if you look in the telephone book here in the Washington, D.C. area, you look up for Federal Reserve in the blue government pages, it's not there. It's in the white pages right next to Federal Express. It's a privately owned central bank.
But when you speak of independence, and I understand your terms, and I disagree with the need for that, but I understand it. But what people hear when you say independence, they hear secrecy. You know, you're going to keep it from us. And like the point I made at the beginning, the SEC is to pressure companies to reveal information, where the Federal Reserve does the opposite. They want, no, we can't tell anything because it might disturb the markets. But I do have one question. During the crisis, or any time that you're aware of, has the Federal Reserve or Treasury participated in any gold swaps arrangements?
The Federal Reserve does not own any gold at all. We have not owned gold since 1934.
Now, on June 4th, 1963, President John F. Kennedy signed Executive Order 11110, which authorized the U.S. Treasury to start printing a new form of the silver certificate called the United States Note. John F. Kennedy issued $4 billion worth of this new cash money, free of debt, free of interest, and it was enough money to allow the nation to conduct its business without needing to involve the private Federal Reserve Bank. Only 5 months later, John F. Kennedy was shot by the crazed lone nut, Lee Harvey Oswald.
I didn't shoot anybody, sir. I haven't been told what I'm here for.
This is the basement floor of the Dallas City Hall, and that's what Oswald has been shot.
And as soon as Kennedy was buried, the United States notes were pulled out of circulation and destroyed, except for samples in the hands of collectors. Now, when I first proposed this linkage between the monetary system and the assassination of our world leaders, I got an email saying, well, I mean, that's nonsense. I mean, how do you know it wasn't Cuba or the Russians or whatever else? And I'll be the first to admit there were overlapping agendas. There were a lot of people who wanted Kennedy dead for a lot of different reasons, but if there is no link to his U.S. notes, then why was John J. McCloy, former president of the World Bank, former president of the Chase Manhattan Bank, appointed to the Warren Commission? I don't care what kind of a man McCloy was. He is not a homicide investigator, and the Warren Commission was supposed to be investigating the assassination of the President of the United States. What is a bank president doing on the Warren Commission if there is no connection to the United States notes?